So I'm just gonna check this stream is working on my end. I just slept in. That's all I did. I'm so sorry. I was uploading a video. Okay, so we're doing chapters 26 and 27 today. Let me open the pages to that. We're almost at the end. We ended off the last chapter with something really morbid. Surely my mother and Prim will know to return to Peter before they bury my body about the pearl. Yeah, I'm alive. My YouTube keeps logging me out and refuses. Can't log back in without. Okay, hopefully everyone. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't put a description in. Whoops. Oops. Okay. I'll put the description in later. That's fine. My account just logged me out. So irritating. Okay. Chapter 26. I think we have 27 pages left. Just move my chair where I'm sitting. Okay. Okay. So early. It's early for me. I'm not a morning person. So is everything working? Should be. I sound a little tired. Alright. Let's actually get started. The anthem begins, but there are no faces in the sky tonight. The audience will be restless, thirsting for blood. And once again, this is Katniss realizing how the this is how Katniss uses it to her advantage to understand how the game makers work, how the games work as an entertainment factor, so she knows when she's in for trouble because they're thirsting for blood. Beatty's trap holds enough promise, though, that the game makers haven't sent in other attacks. Perhaps they're simply curious to see if it will work. Okay, Katniss once again understanding the entertainment factor. In honor of our boy Peter Malak, I'm just making a loaf of bread from scratch. Oh my god, I hit my camera stand on accident. Even bought baker's yeast for it. Oh my god, that's so professional of you. It's so fun. At what Finnick and I judge to be about 9. I like how it's Finnick and Katniss who can judge what time it is, just by the sky. We leave our shell-strewn camp, cross to the 12 o'clock beach, and begin to quietly hike up to the lightning tree in the light of the moon. Our full stomachs make us more uncomfortable and breathless than we were on the morning's climb. Oh no. I begin to regret those last dozen oysters. Well, a dozen. That's heaps. Oh no. I'm going to highlight this because it has to do with food and indulgence. We were talking last stream yesterday about how the oysters are very much about like capital indulgence and how much food, the sheer amount of food they ate. I'll show you. Capital greed, maybe. I'll just write that as a little annotation. Capital greed. Wonder if they get a lot of exercise in the capital. I'll let you know how it turns out for the loaf of bread. Great. I'm excited to hear that. We mentioned capital indulgence hoarding resources from the districts, and how here in the last chapter we mentioned that about the food, right? With the leftovers, they end up having leftovers, which I don't think we see anything about leftovers other than in the capital. They won't keep those, so we toss all the remaining food back into the water so the careers won't get it when we leave. So this is the manipulating food, essentially, and they bring it up at the beginning of chapter 26 as well. Beatty asks Finnick to assist him, and the rest of us stand guard. Before he even attaches any wire to the tree, I just combined Peter and Beatty then. My God. I'm really tired, man. Beatty unrolls meters and meters of the stuff. He has Finnick secure it tightly around a broken branch and lay it on the ground. Then they stand on either side of the tree, passing the spool back and forth as they wrap the wire around and around the trunk. This tree must be a lot smaller than the one we see in the movies, because if they can pass it back and forth and stand on either end of the tree, then the tree trunk's much, much smaller, because the tree is huge in the movies. Huge tree, and it's something that they have to like walk around the tree to be able to attach the wire to. At first it seems arbitrary, then I see a pattern, like an intricate maze appearing in the moonlight on Beatty's side. I wonder if it makes any difference how the wire is placed, or if this is merely to add to the speculation of the audience. I bet most of them know as much about electricity as I do. And I wonder if Beatty's doing this so they're kind of like thrown off from the fact they're trying to break the arena. Because at this point we know there is a rebel plot to break the arena. And I wonder, and he's just making it intricate for entertainment so they don't catch on. Okay, and I'm just going to write that little annotation there. How do I write this? It's been so difficult to annotate with so little pages left. I wonder if Beatty intricate on purpose. Oh my God, I spelled it wrong. I missed the R. On purpose for entertainment. Okay, what I've written here is, I wonder if Beatty made it intricate on purpose for entertainment and to throw off audiences about the rebellion. Wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. The work on the trunk's completed just as we hear the wave begin. I've never really worked out what point in the 10 o'clock hour it erupts. There must be some build-up, then the wave itself, then the aftermath of the flooding, but the sky tells me 10:30. This here, I'm like, that's very similar. We know now from Sunrise on the Reaping, of course, that there is a source of water within the arena somewhere underneath the arena. And this water is coming from, I wonder if they'd have an extra amount of water at this point, because of course we know it's like a water arena, so they probably need extra water for this specific arena than they did in the 50th games. And yeah, I wonder if they thought it was a possibility that they could break the arena using this at one point, or it crossed Beatty's mind to do that. This is when Beatty reveals the rest of the plan. Since we move most swiftly through the trees, he wants Joanna and me to take the coil down through the jungle, unwinding the wire as we go. This is when they split Peter and Katniss up. We are to lay it across the 12 o'clock beach and drop the metal spool with whatever is left deep in the water, making sure it sinks. Then run for the jungle. If we go now, right now, we should make it to safety. I want to go with them as a guard, Peter says immediately. After the moment with the pearl, I know he's less willing than ever to let me out of his sight. Oh, poor Peter. Well, he's the one that gets captured by the Capitol, not Katniss. You're too slow. Besides, I'll need you on this end. I'm going to just write that as an annotation. Okay. What's easier? Just going to do a little arrow here. Okay. Well, it's Peter who gets captured by the Capitol, not Katniss. Katniss will guard, says Peter. This is Peter. Yeah, I keep reading it as Beatty's Peter. I'm seeing the E's. I'm like, that's Peter. Katniss will guard, says Beatty. There's no time to debate this. I'm sorry. If the girls are going to get out of there alive, they need to move now. He hands the coil to Joanna. I don't like the plan any more than Peter does. How can I protect him at a distance? But Beatty's right. With his leg, Peter is too slow to make it down the slope in time. Joanna and I are the fastest and most sure-footed on the jungle floor. I can't think of any alternative. If I trust anyone here besides Peter, it's Beatty. I wonder if Joanna is like that. I wonder why Finnick isn't sure-footed. Is it because they're smaller? More, like, what's the word, nimble? More nimble. Hang on. Okay. We know that Peter has a prosthetic leg, which is making it more difficult for him to navigate the jungle. Okay. Peter has a prosthetic leg, making it more difficult to move, to navigate the jungle. But what about Finnick? Just a little question mark there. Because, I don't know, maybe Finnick's just not good at it. Maybe he's just not talented enough. It's okay, tell Peter. We'll just drop the coil and come straight back up. Not into the lightning zone, Beatty reminds me. Head for the tree in the 1 to 2 o'clock sector. If you find you're running out of time, move over one more. Don't even think about going back to the beach, though, until I assess the damage. I take Peter's face in my hands. Don't worry, I'll see you at midnight. I give him a kiss, and before he can object any further, I let go and turn to Joanna. Ready? Why not? Says Joanna with a shrug. She's clearly no happier about being teamed up than I am. But we're all caught up in Beatty's trap. You guard, I'll unwind. We can trade off later. Now, I just want to highlight this section because I think this is the last time we see a stable, untortured Peter. A non-hijacked Peter. Did I say the first time or the last time? I meant the last time. I'm so tired. I'm forgetting the words I said. Okay, so the last time. I think so. Yeah, I think it is. I always wonder how Brutus died. Did Peter actually manage to kill Brutus? I don't remember if it's actually confirmed to us or not that that's what happens. And I wonder how Peter killed him, if that's the case. This is the last time we see Peter before he's hijacked. It's devastating. I'm just gonna do a little sad face there. Okay. Without further discussion, we head down to the slope. In fact, there's very little discussion between us at all. We move at a pretty good clip. Well, that's an interesting way to... Pretty good clip. I don't think I've used that kind of phrase in my lifetime. Pretty good clip. I don't know, I just find that sentence a little weird. That's just Susan Collins. There's something different in the way Susan Collins speaks to the way, like, my internal monologue is, I guess. So I just, like, it took me back. We move at a pretty good clip, one manning the coil, the other keeping watch. About halfway down, we hear the clicking begin to rise, indicating it's after 11. Better hurry, Joanna says. I wonder how long it takes to get back to the beach. Wow, that's quite the hike. I want to put a lot of distance between me and that water before the lightning hits, just in case the Volt's miscalculated something. I'll take the coil for a while, I say. It's harder to work lying out the wire than guarding, and she's had a long turn. Here, Joanna says, passing me the coil. Both of our hands are still on the metal cylinder when there's a slight vibration. Suddenly, the thin golden wire from above springs down at us, bunching up tangled loops and curls around our wrists. Then the severed end sneaks up to our feet. I've always wondered in this section what exactly happened, who cut it, and what was the purpose of cutting it. You know, maybe this is Brutus and Anabaria discovering that they are setting a trap for them and trying to ruin it, because we know Brutus and Anabaria, I believe it's... Is it Anabaria who comes past, or is it both of them? We'll find out in a second. Because Joanna cuts open Katniss's and tells her to stay down while there's a commotion going on. Like, I've always wondered, because there's a lot of perspective we don't get, because we get Katniss's perspective as the protagonist, and she doesn't know about the rebel plan. So there's a lot of things that we're not in the know about when all of this happens. And I've just always been curious, what is the exact sequence of events? How does Brutus die? How does Anabaria survive? What happens after Katniss has her arm cut open? It's like a lot of things that we don't know. Okay, how do I write down an annotation here? Okay, I want to know what happened. Who does this? It's very likely Brutus and Anabaria. I want to know the exact sequence of events. Okay, moving on. It only takes a second to register this rapid turn of events. Joanna and I look at each other, they're like dumbfounded. But neither of us has to say it. Someone not far above us has cut the wire, and they will be on us at any moment. My hand frees itself from the wire and has just closed on the feathers of an arrow when the metal cylinder smashes into the side of my head. And this is where Joanna has knocked her out. And one thing I will say, it couldn't have been Beatty who cut the wire, because she said not far above us. Oh yeah, because I guess, like, maybe it says it's the wire snakes up to their feet. So it doesn't just, like, the wire doesn't just go limp, right? As it would if it was further up. So maybe it wasn't Beatty, it was definitely Brutus and Anabaria. The only thing that I would think of is that maybe Beatty's plan has already failed and that's what ended up cutting the wire. But I think we know that there is wire. There's plenty of wire, I'm thinking, at some point. Yeah. I'm just, like, thinking through my head because there's plenty of wire at the lightning tree as Katniss breaks the arena. We know that. So it wasn't Beatty's plan already failing, although we know his plan has kind of failed at that point. He's passed out after attempting to break the arena. See, Beatty's plans don't exactly go to plan, like in the 50th games. And then it just so happens Katniss is lucky enough to think on her feet, where Beatty has already failed. The next thing I know, I'm lying on my back in the vines, terrible pain in my left temple. Unless Brutus and Anabaria already attacked Beatty, but wouldn't they kill him? Something's wrong with my eyes. My vision blurs in and out of focus as I strain to make the two moons floating up in the sky into one. It's hard to breathe, and I realize Joan is sitting on my chest, pinning me at the shoulders with her knees. Okay. The beginning of the rebel plan. Okay, they're acting out the rebel plan now. I don't really want to highlight anything there just yet. There's a stab in my left forearm because she's cutting out her tracker. I try to jerk away, but I'm still too incapacitated. Joanna's digging something, I guess the point of her knife into my flesh, twisting it around. There's an excruciating, ripping sensation, and warmth runs down my wrist, filling my palm. She swipes down my arm and coats half my face with blood. "Stay down," she hisses. Her weight leaves my body and I'm alone. Stay down? I think, what? What is happening? My eyes shut, blocking out the inconsistent world as I try to make sense of my situation. Still so clueless. I mean, I can't blame her. She has no reason to think there's a rebel plan going on because she hasn't been filled in. Stay down, I think. What is happening? I'm gonna write another annotation. Just let me highlight this with my pencil. I'm gonna go back to using a highlighter when we start Mockingjay next week. Okay. Okay, I can't blame Katniss. Can't blame Katniss for being clueless. She has very little information to go off of and has no reason to suspect a rebellion. She's 17 as well. She feels trapped in this arena. So there's no way she'd like suspect anything because she's a 17-year-old who's lived under Snow's regime for so long. She hasn't had the chance to rebel that much because every time she does rebel, she has consequences. So she doesn't think that pattern will change at any point. All I can think of is Joanna shoving Virus to the beach. Just stay down, will you? But she didn't attack Virus, not like this. I'm not Virus anyway. I'm not nuts. Just stay down, will you? Echoes around inside my brain. Footsteps coming. 2 pairs. Heavy. Not trying to conceal their whereabouts. So that's probably both Anabaria and Brutus at this point. Brutus's voice. Oh yeah, there we go. She's as good as dead. Come on, Anabaria. Feet moving into the night. Am I? I drift in and out of consciousness looking for an answer. Am I as good as dead? I'm in no position to make an argument to the contrary. In fact, rational thinking is a struggle. This much I know. Joanna attacked me. Smashed that cylinder into my head. Cut my arm, probably doing irreparable damage to veins and arteries. And then Brutus and Anabaria show up before she had time to finish me off. The alliance is over. Finnick and Joanna must have had an agreement to turn on us tonight. I knew we should have left this morning. I don't know where Beatty stands, but I'm fair game, and so is Peter. Peter! My eyes fly open in panic. She just accepted death. Did she just accept death here? That's so funny. She's just like lying there with her eyes closed. She's like, I'm as good as dead. I'm dying. It just doesn't do anything about that. That's so funny. Did Katniss just... I wonder if Finnick, like, explained in, like, terms that wouldn't that the capital audiences Snow wouldn't catch on to, that Finnick, like, alludes to a rebellion. But if Peter gets it, then maybe Snow would understand it too. So maybe he couldn't say anything. Because I can't imagine them not filling Peter in and just attacking him the same way Joanna attacked Katniss. I imagine Finnick just wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe Finnick has even killed him already. No, I whisper. That wire was cut from a short distance away by the Kriz. Finnick and Beatty and Peter, they can't know what's going on down here. They can only be wondering what has happened, why the wire has gone slack, or even sprung back to the tree. This, in itself, can't be a signal to kill, can it? Surely this was just Joanna deciding the time had come to break with us, kill me, escape from the Kriz, then bring Finnick into the fight as soon as possible. I don't know. I only know that I must get back to Peter and keep him alive. It takes every ounce of will I have to push up into a sitting position and drag myself up the side of the tree to my feet. I think I just want to highlight this for emphasis. She's so confused. She's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. None of this makes any sense. She doesn't make sense of it really until Mockingjay, I think, like at the beginning of Mockingjay where we are filled in a bit better. Or I guess maybe a little bit at the end of Catching Fire, as we're going to have revealed to us in a second. It's lucky I have something to hold on to because the jungle's tilting back and forth. Without any warning, I lean forward and vomit up the seafood feast. I bet she's so full, heaving until there can't possibly be an oyster left in my body. Trembling and slick with sweat, I assess my physical condition. I've just written, I bet a full stomach is bad for all this. Especially if you're not used to eating seafood, like Katniss from the Appalachian regions and doesn't have access to water unless at the lake. She's not used to all of this. As I lift up my damaged arm, blood sprays me in the face, and the world makes another alarming shift. I squeeze my eyes shut and cling to the tree until things steady a little. Then I take a few careful steps through a neighboring tree, pull off some moss, and without examining the wound further, tightly bandage my arm. Better. Definitely better not to see it. It's not the fact that it's sopping up the blood. Then I allow my hand to tentatively touch my head wound. There's a huge lump, but not too much blood. Obviously, I've got some internal damage, but I don't seem in danger of bleeding to death, at least not through my head. I just find this funny. I'm just going to highlight it for emphasis. I dry my hands on moss and get a shaky grip on my bow with my damaged left arm, secure the notch of an arrow to the string, make my feet move up the slope. How much longer is this specific chapter? I've got quite a few pages left just for the whole book in general. Okay, like 7 pages left. Peter, my dying wish, my promise to keep him alive. My heart lifts a bit when I realize he must be alive because no cannon has fired. Maybe Joanna was acting alone, knowing Finnick would side with her once her intentions were clear. The fact that she immediately assumes that I think I just drew my jumper on accident because my pen, it's fine. I just got distracted for a second. The fact that Candace immediately assumes, she goes, well, obviously Finnick and Joanna are working in cahoots for this because of how close they are. Although it's hard to guess what goes on between those two, I think of how he looked at her for confirmation before he'd agreed to set Beatty's trap. There's a much deeper alliance based on years of friendship and who knows what else. Therefore, if Joanna has turned on me, I should no longer trust Finnick. Literally the rebellion. I'll highlight this part as well. Candace is like almost there. She's putting things together, but no, she's not quite there just yet. I'm just going to write down Candace is so close yet so far. Okay. I reach this conclusion only seconds before I hear someone running down the slope towards me. Neither Peter nor Beatty could move at this pace. I duck behind a curtain of vines, concealing myself just in time. Finnick flies by me. Clearly, he knows that something's gone amiss. His skin shadowy with medicine, leaping through the undergrowth like a deer. He soon reaches the site of my attack, must see the blood. Joanna, Katniss, he calls. I stay put until he goes in the direction Joanna and the Krias took. I wonder what would have happened if she revealed herself then. I wonder. I move as quickly as I can without sending the world into a whirl. My head throbs with the rapid beat of my heart. The insects, possibly excited by the smell of blood, have increased their clicking until it's a continuous roar in my ears. No, wait. Maybe my ears are actually ringing from the hit. Till the insects shut up, it will be impossible to tell. When the insects go silent, the lightning will start. Oh, I have to move faster. I have to get to Peter. The boom of the cannon pulls me up short. Brutus just died, and I wonder at the hands of Finnick or Peter. Someone has died. I know that with everyone running around armed and scared right now, it could be anybody. But whoever it is, I believe the death will trigger a kind of free-for-all out here in the night. People will kill first and wonder about their motives later. I force my legs into a run. Nobody else dies after this. It's just being captured by District 13 or the capital. This would have been... Oh, no, wait, Chaff is still alive. Maybe Chaff died. I completely forgot about Chaff. See, because in the movies, Chaff dies in the bloodbath. It's when my wires get crossed with the movies and the books all the time. It was either Chaff or Brutus, then Brutus dies, and then nobody else dies after that. Something snags my feet and I sprawl out on the ground. I feel it wrapping around me, intertwining me in sharp fibers. A net. This must be one of Finnick's fancy nets positioned to trap me, and he must be nearby, trident in hand. I flail around for a moment, only working the web more tightly around me, and then I catch a glimpse of it in the moonlight. Confused, I lift my arm and see it's entangled in shimmering golden... I lift my arm and see it's entangled in shimmering golden threads. It's not one of Finnick's nets at all, but Beatty's wire. It did remind me a moment of Rue. I'll write an annotation of that in a second. I carefully rise to my feet and find I'm in a patch of the stuff that caught on a trunk on its way back to the lightning tree. Slowly, I disengage myself from the wire, step out of its reach, and continue uphill. I've just written here, oddly reminiscent of Rue's death. She really has trust issues. Well, I wouldn't blame her. She's in the arena, but she really doesn't think... She doesn't know anything. On the good side, I'm on the right path and have not been so disorientated by the head injury as to lose my sense of direction. On the bad side, the wire has reminded me of the oncoming lightning storm. I can still hear the insects, but are they starting to fade? I keep the loops of wire a meter to my left as a guide as I run, but take great care not to touch them. If those insects are fading and the first bolt is about to strike the tree, then all its power will come surging down the wire and anyone in contact with it will die. The tree swims into view, its trunk festooned with gold. I slow down, try to move with some stealth, but I'm really just lucky to be upright. I look for a sign of the others. No one. No one is there. Peter, I call softly. Peter? And I'm trying to decide if I want to highlight a section of this. Sometimes Katniss uses big words and I'm taken aback. This is one of them. I'm like, how does she know that word? She's a 17-year-old who is a high school dropout because she was a victor in the Hunger Games. And not to mention she's also in survival mode. She doesn't pay attention that much in school. She's not that smart. She has wits about her, but she's not book smart, you know? I don't really know if there's much to highlight here because it happens so quickly. A soft moan answers me and I whip around to find a figure lying higher up on the ground. Beatty, I exclaim. I hurry and kneel beside him. The moan must have been involuntary. He's not conscious, although I can see no wound except a gash below the crook of his elbow. Oh? His tracker has been removed. I wonder what Finnick's doing, trying to remove... what's he doing to try and convince Peter to remove this tracker? Chaff almost made it out of the arena alive. I can't believe that. Poor Haymitch. Chaff was so close. I wonder what the game makers in Snow are thinking right now. There are 2, maybe 3. No, Joanna didn't remove her tracker yet. There are 2. Finnick would have removed his tracker at some point. So there are, 3 people who have removed trackers at this point. And the game makers are like, what's going on? Why are they removing their trackers? Maybe do they know that they've removed their trackers? Because the trackers aren't destroyed. They've just been removed. But they also have cameras so they can see that these tributes are moving. So they're probably wondering what's going on with the trackers. I wonder if they've connected the dots yet and Snow is scrambling. By this point, the what do you call it? The District 13, maybe Capital hovercraft is already moving, I bet. It's already going towards the arena. I grab a nearby handful of moss and clumsily wrap it while I try to rouse him. And yeah, Hamish is probably worried. He's probably not like necessarily looking at the arena and what's going on inside. I wonder if Plutarch has some sort of tape watching it with Hamish as they try to get to the victors and move to District 13. Hamish would be so worried at this point. I imagine he has so much anxiety. Beatty, what's going on? Who cut you? Beatty. I shake him in the way you should never shake an injured person, but I don't know what else to do. He moans again and briefly raises a hand to ward me off. Like, she's probably shaking him pretty aggressively, trying to figure out what's going on. This is when I notice he's holding a knife. One Peter was carrying earlier, I think, which is wrapped loosely in wire. Perplexed, I stand and lift the wire, confirming it's attached back at the tree. It takes me a moment to remember the second, much shorter strand that Beatty wound around a branch and left on the ground before he even began his design on the tree. Maybe he was trying to test what he needed to do first. I thought it had some electrical significance and had been set aside to be used later. But it never was, because there's probably a good 20-25 meters here. I squint hard up the hill and realize we're only a few paces from the force field. There's the telltale square high up, and to my right, just as it was this morning. What did Beatty do? Did he actually try to drive the knife into the force field the way Peter did by accident? And what's the deal with the wire? Was this his backup plan? If electrifying the water failed, did he mean to send the lightning bolt's energy into the force field? What would that do anyway? Nothing. A great deal for us all. The force field must mostly be energy too, I guess. The one in the training center was invisible. This one seems to somehow mirror the jungle. But I've seen it falter when Peter's knife struck it and when my arrows hit. The real world lies right behind it. Oh, so many clues, yet they're not coming together just yet. Yeah, that's what I've just written. So many clues, but they're not coming together just yet. Katniss, come on, dude. My ears are ringing. It was the insects after all. Oh, my ears are not ringing. It was the insects after all. Just missed that one little word there. I know that now because they're dying out quickly and I hear nothing but the jungle sounds. Beatty is useless. I can't rouse him. I can't save him. I don't know what he was trying to do with the knife and the wire, and he's incapable of explaining. The moss bandage on my arm is soaked and there's no use fooling myself. I'm so lightheaded. I'll black out in a matter of minutes. I've got to get away from this tree end. Katniss, I hear his voice, though he's a far distance away. What is he doing? Peter must have figured out that everyone is hunting us by now. Katniss. I can't protect him. I can't move fast or far, and my shooting abilities are questionable at best. I do the one thing I can to draw the attackers away from him and over to me. Peter, I scream out. Peter, I'm here. Yes, I will draw them in, any in my vicinity, away from Peter and over to me in the lightning tree that will soon be a weapon in itself. I'm here. I'm here. He won't make it. Not with that leg in the night. He will never make it back in. He will never make it in time, Peter. His disability, right here. Disability in the Hunger Games. He didn't injure his leg, did he? No, not this time. Disability in the Hunger Games. That, Peter's disability is really disadvantaging him here. He's really not equipped to be in the arena at this point. It's working. I can hear them coming, 2 of them crashing through the jungle. My knees start to give out and I sink down next to Beatty, resting my weight on my heels. My bow and arrow lift into the position. If I can take them out, will Peter survive the rest? Anabaria and Finnick reach the lightning tree. It was at this point with the first reading I knew the games were going out with a bang. Yeah, definitely. It was... Yeah, I can't even remember when I first read Catching Fire. I was so young. I would have been about 10 when I first read it. So I can't think back, but I definitely was as confused as Katniss. That much I know. I'm trying to think back. What was I thinking? Yeah, I just remember being confused during my first read, and kind of being relieved when I read Mockingjay to be like, oh, there wasn't only just one victor that got out alive. It was multiple of them, thank God. Because I didn't want all these characters to die, because we get really attached to the characters. Anabaria and Finnick reach the lightning tree. No wonder Anabaria survives. They can't see me, sitting above them on the slope, my skin camouflaged in ointment. I home in on Anabaria's neck. With any luck, when I kill her, Finnick will duck behind the tree for cover just as the lightning bolt strikes. And it will be any second. There's only a faint insect click here and there. I can kill them now. I can kill them both. Another cannon. This is the last time anyone dies. Is that Brutus dying as Peter stays back? Yep, Katniss. Peter's voice howls for me. He kills Brutus because he's worried about Katniss. So Chaff was the first one who died just a couple pages ago. Brutus is the very last person to die in the Hunger Games, actually. Wow. That's crazy. At least what we know of is Brutus. It could have been Chaff. I think it's Brutus. My wires are getting crossed with the movie. Can't remember what they tell us in Mockingjay. The very last person. That's such unfortunate luck for this person. The very last person to die in the Hunger Games. Katniss, Peter's voice howls for me, but this time I don't answer. Beatty still breathes faintly beside me. He and I will soon die. Finnick and Anabaria will die. Peter is alive. 2 cannons have sounded. Brutus, Joanna, Chaff. 2 of them are already dead. That will leave Peter with only 1 tribute to kill. And that is the very best I can do. 1 enemy. I just want to highlight it for emphasis here. Brutus killed Chaff. Peter killed Brutus. Yeah, that's what I think happened, but I can't remember if they actually tell us, because did they tell us? I can't even remember, because we know that Chaff is already dead in the bloodbath in the movies, but we know that Brutus was killed by Peter at that point in the movies, but I don't remember if they tell us. But I assume if that's in my head and that's also in your head, then maybe that's probably what happened. Maybe they do tell us. I just can't remember exactly. Enemy. The word is tugging at a recent memory, pulling it into the present. The look on Hamish's face. Katniss. When you're in the arena, the scout, the misgiving. Because he knows what Katniss will do. What? I hear my own voice tighten as I bristle at some unspoken accusation. You just remember who the enemy is, Hamish says. That's all. So I don't think... I don't think... Yeah, they've given this line to Finnick in the movies, but it's Haymitch who knows what's going on. Haymitch's last words of advice to me. Why would I need reminding? I've always known who the enemy is, who starves and tortures and kills us in the arena, who will soon kill everyone I love. I'm going to just highlight this for emphasis here as well. Capital. Capital is the real enemy. Struggling to highlight as we get to the last pages. Okay. I'm going to highlight this bit and then I'm going to read it out to you guys. I'm going to write down just the capital here. Okay, my bow drops as his meaning registers. Yes, I know who the enemy is, and it's not Anabaria. I finally see Beater's knife with clear eyes. My shaking hand slide the wire from the hilt, wind it around the arrow just above the feathers, and secure it with a knot picked up in training. I rise, turning to the force field, fully revealing myself, but no longer caring. Only caring about where I should direct my tip, where Beatty would have driven the knife if he'd been able to choose. My bow tilts up at the wavering square, the floor, what did he call it the other day? That day, the chink in the armor. I let the arrow fly, see it hit its mark and vanish, pulling the thread of gold behind it. The chink in the armor. Highlighting this for emphasis. There's always a way to break there's always a weakness in the capital. And President Snow. Okay. Just want to emphasize the fact that it's to do with that there. Okay. Oh, about Chaff and Brutus's death. I didn't see the comment. Chaff's death during the final chaotic moments of the third quarter quill and catching fire. Brutus ambushed and killed Chaff. Brutus's death. Witnessing this, Peter flew into a fit of rage and attacked Brutus, killing him just seconds later because he wants Chaff to live, obviously, because for Haymitch, he probably killed Brutus after seeing Chaff's death. Yeah. Confirmed in Mockingjay. Yeah, I have like a vague recollection of that being revealed. The reveal happens right at the beginning of the book in chapter 2. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll probably do... Yeah, no, we'll definitely do chapter 2 next weekend. So we'll see for ourselves then. But yeah, I have a vague recollection of reading that. I knew I had to get it from somewhere. My hand stands on end and the lightning strikes the tree. A flash of white runs up the wire, and just for a moment, the dome bursts into a dazzling blue light. I'm thrown backwards to the ground, body useless, paralyzed, eyes frozen wide as feathery bits of matter rain down on me. I can't reach Peter. I can't even reach my pearl. My eyes strain to capture one last image of beauty to take with me. Right before the explosion begins, I find a star. It's a really powerful ending. Very, very reminiscent of Haymitch as he explodes the arena in the 50th games. Oh, my stomach. I haven't eaten yet this morning because it's so early. Just ignore it. Hang on. From the book, there are a couple of passing references. I imagine they'd show a brief clip of the interview whilst Haymitch is healing again. When Haymitch... Oh my god, my stomach is like really growling. I'm gonna have to eat after this live stream. I'd imagine they show a brief clip of her interview whilst Haymitch is healing, and again when Haymitch finds the Nordalf's grave. Is that from earlier? Oh, you guys are having a bit of a conversation. Oh, okay. I missed that. Yeah. And then Katniss is taken out of the arena. So this is just the last chapter we're going into now. Powerful ending to the chapter. I'm sure this inspired the scene with Hamish destroying the arena in Sunrise on the Reaping to the chapter. Very reminiscent, very, very reminiscent. It's so difficult to write at the end of a chapter. Very reminiscent of Hamish destroying the 50th Games arena. A powerful ending to the chapter, very reminiscent of Hamish destroying the 50th Games arena. Okay, last chapter, chapter 27. We're almost there, guys. I think we only have like a couple pages left. Yeah, not that long. This chapter's fairly short as well. Chapter 27. Everything seems to erupt at once. The earth explodes into showers of dirt and plant matter. Trees burst into flames. Even the sky fills with brightly colored blossoms of light. I can't think why the sky's being bombed until I realize the game makers are shooting off fireworks up there while the real destruction occurs on the ground. Just in case it's not enough fun watching the obliteration of the arena and the remaining tributes, or perhaps to illuminate our gory ends. Amazing imagery. Once again, I always say I absolutely love Susan Collins' imagery. It's one of the reasons she's so good at world building, because she has just such amazing imagery. Will they let anyone survive? Will there be a victor of the 75th Hunger Games? Maybe not. After all, what is this quarter quell but, what was it President Snow read from the card? A reminder to the rebels that even the strongest among them cannot overcome the power of the capital. Not even the strongest of the strong will triumph. Perhaps they never intended to have a victor in these games at all. Or perhaps my final act of rebellion forced their hand. Well, I do wonder, did they intend on having a victor? Surely they did, because of the amount of unrest in the capital. Had they not had a victor, I don't think it would have worked out for Snow there. I think the capital would have rebelled. Just going to write that as an annotation. I think the capital have rebelled without a victor. Rebelled intensely without a victor. I think the capital would have rebelled intensely without a victor since there was so much unrest. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Save him. More likely I stole his last chance at life. Condemned him by destroying the force field. Maybe if we had all played by the rules, they might have let him live. Can't believe she thinks it's her fault. Just going to highlight all of this here. The hovercraft materializes above me without warning. If it was quiet and a mockingjay perched close at hand, I would have heard the jungle go silent and then the bird's call that precedes the appearance of the hovercraft. But my ears could never make out anything so delicate in this bombardment. The claw drops from the underside until it's directly overhead. Oops. Kicked my camera stand there on accident. Where was I up to? The claw drops from the underside until it's directly overhead. The metal talons slide under me. I want to scream, run, smash my way out of it, but I'm frozen, helpless to do anything but fervently hope I'll die before I reach the shadowy figures awaiting me above. They have not spared my life to crown me victor, but to make my death as slow and public as possible. My worst fears are confirmed when the face that greets me inside the hovercraft belongs to Plutarch, Heavensby, head game maker. What a mess I have made of his beautiful games with the clever ticking clock in the field of victors. He will suffer for his failure, probably lose his life, but not before he sees me punished. Oof. Just highlighting this for emphasis here. Katniss once again making assumptions. Just written down, Katniss is making so many assumptions. My heart pounds so hard the blood begins to stream from beneath my soaked moss bandage. My thoughts grow foggy. Possibly I can bleed to death before they can revive me after all. In my mind, I whisper a thank you to Joanna Mason for the excellent wound she inflicted as I black out. When I swim back into semi-consciousness, I can feel I'm lying on a padded table. There's the pinching sensation of tubes in my left arm. They're trying to keep me alive because if I slide quietly, privately into death, it will be a victory. I am still largely unable to open my eyelids and raise my head. Probably going to highlight this for emphasis as well. Another assumption here. Another big assumption. Right. Where was I up to? I'm still largely unable to move, open my eyelids, raise my head, but my right arm has regained a little motion. It flops across my body, feeling like a flipper. No, something less animated, like a club. I have no real motor coordination, no proof that I even still have fingers. Yet I manage to swing my arm around until I rip the tubes out. A beeping goes off, but I can't stay awake to find out who it will summon. Oh, notice how Candace doesn't know what IVs are and calls them tubes instead. Yeah. She wouldn't know them from her mother healing people. I didn't notice that. I usually notice when Candace is calling things certain, like, names that wouldn't necessarily be called. Hang on. Where are the tubes? Sensation of tubes. I'm going to write that down as an annotation. Katniss doesn't know what IVs are, so she calls them tubes. She would have had IVs in her arms in the first games, so I wonder if she calls them tubes then as well. I wonder if anyone told her. Clearly not. Doesn't know what IVs are and calls them tubes. Okay. For some reason, talking about Lucy Gray is making me think of Dolly Parton. Lucy Gray's address in many colors that her mother, her mama made for her. Dolly had a coat of many colors that her mom made her. Yeah. I feel like I heard the other day Dolly Parton was from the Appalachian region. I heard someone say exactly this quote. They said that she was from the poor or extremely poor of the Appalachia, something like that. Oh, I can't quote them directly now that I'm realizing that I don't know the exact word. But she was from Appalachia, I think. Don't quote me on that. She was from the South, wasn't she? She grew up extremely poor. I know Dolly Parton's death is really shaken everyone, especially the amount of deaths this week. My God. Everyone but Trump, man. Everyone but Trump. The next time I surface, my hands are tied down to the table, the tubes back in my arm. Once again, calling them tubes. I can open my eyes and lift my head slightly, though. I'm in a large room with low ceilings and a silvery light. There are 2 rows of beds facing each other. I can hear the breathing of what I assume are my fellow victors. She was from Tennessee, Dolly Parton. Grew up in poverty. Her imagination library was in honor of her dad, who was illiterate. Yeah, I heard that one. I knew while she was alive that she did a lot of really cool things, but I've been seeing a lot more information that I haven't seen before. I wasn't a huge follower of Dolly Parton. I just, of course, she was so famous. I knew of her existence and a lot of the things she's done. Dolly was born in Tennessee. Not sure if that's in Appalachia. I mean, we can look it up. Maybe. Was Dolly Parton? Don't want to look at AI. Wikipedia's better. Born into poverty in rural Tennessee. Yeah. I feel like, is Tennessee a part of Appalachia? I don't know. Oh, hang on. Growing up in rugged Appalachian mountains of East Tennessee. That's on a Facebook post, though, because I don't know how legit it is. From the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. She came from deep in Appalachia, where music was an integral part of life for those who, like Parton, struggled to make a hard living. Yeah. So it looks like she is from Appalachia, like Katniss, and like Lucy Gray, of course. Yeah. So yeah, so Dolly Parton, very similar to Lucy Gray. I can definitely see the comparison there. At least we know what happened to Dolly Parton. Definitely a Covey inspiration. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Suzanne Collins used her as a Covey inspiration. She's Dolly Parton's from the exact culture that would have inspired the Covey. So, yeah, Dolly Parton. she's Dolly Parton. She's almost Covey herself. Hang on, where was I up to? There are 2 rows of beds facing each other. I can hear the breathing of what I assume are my fellow victors. Directly across from me, I see Beatty with about 10 different machines hooked up to him. Just let us die, I scream in my mind. I slam my head back hard on the table and go out again. Wow. Gee, she knocked herself out there. Jeez. That's just what I'm writing as an opinion here. It's very aggressive there, Katniss. She just wants to die. She thinks they're going to kill her eventually. All I know for sure about Dolly Parton, again, is Dolly used her deep Christian faith to spread nothing but love for everyone. If she isn't in heaven, I don't want to go there. I know, right? Like, whilst I'm not religious myself, like, Dolly Parton, like, I hope there's a heaven for her. I've seen a lot of people saying that, like, I hope there's a heaven for Dolly Parton because, like, what an incredible woman. She was, like, a true Christian. bread in the oven. 40 minutes to go. That's great. We love making bread while reading The Hunger Games. When I finally truly wake up, the restraints are gone. I raise my hand and find I have fingers that move at my command again. Push myself to a sitting position and hold on to the padded table until the room settles into focus. My left arm is bandaged, but the tubes dangle off stands by the bed. I'm alone. Hang on. Yeah, I'm just trying to like imagine it in my mind as we're reading. I'm alone except for Beatty, who still lies in front of me, being sustained by his army of machines. Yeah. She doesn't know what all these machines are for. Okay, Candace doesn't know what all these machines are for, just that they're life-sustaining. Where are the others then? Peter, Finnick, and Abaria, and one more, right? Either Joanna or Chaff or Brutus was still alive when the bombs began. I'm sure they'll want to make an example of us all, but where have they taken them? Moved them from the hospital to prison? Army of machines. And being in capital care, and the capital has its army of peacekeepers who sustain the district machinery, keeping the capital alive. That's a very good comparison. I like that. Peter, I whisper, I so wanted to protect him. Am still resolved to, since I have failed to keep him safe in life. I must find him, not knowing he's captured by the capital. I want to highlight this section because I think that a lot of people point out, and I agree with it, that where was I going with what I was just saying? A lot of people say that Candace loved Peter so much that she was willing to kill him to keep him from the torture of the capital. But she was not able to kill Gale to keep him from the capital's torture. I'll just read the rest of the sentence. I must find him, kill him now before the capital gets to choose the agonizing means of his death. Katniss. But later in Mockingjay does not do the same for Gale. Candace is willing to save Peter by killing him, but later Mockingjay doesn't do the same for Gale. I slide my legs off the table and look around for a weapon. There are a few syringes sealed in sterile plastic on a table near Beatty's bed. Perfect. All I'll need is air and a clear shot at one of his veins. I pause for a moment. consider killing Beatty. Imagine if she'd actually killed Beatty in this moment. Oh my god. They'd be so screwed. A lot of the events in Mockingjay rely on Beatty's knowledge of technology. But if I do, the monitors will start beeping and I'll be caught before I get to Peter. Thank God. Thank God. Make a silent promise to return and finish him off if I can. My God, Katniss. I'm naked except for a thin nightgown, so I slip the syringe under the bandage that covers the wound on my arm. There are no guards at the door, no doubt I'm miles beneath the training center or in some capital stronghold, and the possibility of my escape is non-existent. It doesn't matter. I'm not escaping, just finishing a job. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. This is actually where Peter is, and Peter, Joanna, and Annabari are at this point. Katniss. I creep down a narrow hallway to a metal door that stands slightly ajar. Someone is behind it. I take out the syringe and grip it in my hand. Flattening myself against the wall, I listen to the voices inside. Communications are down in 7, 10, and 12. 7, 10, and 12. Wonder if... Okay, 12 we know was bombed. 10 and 7, I don't know what about... I don't know about those ones. That's interesting. But 11 has control of transportation now, so at least... So there's at least a hope of them getting some food out. District 11 is really important. A major piece. In both rebellions. Not both. Actually, I don't want to write both rebellions in when controlling, because they control food. Double meaning of the Hunger Games once again there. And it's the fact that they need to control transportation, not just if they're like on the side of the rebellion. What they need is to be able to control transportation. Plutarch Heavensby, I think. Although I've only really spoken with him once, a hoarse voice asks a question. No, I'm sorry, there's no way I can get you to 4, but I've given special orders for her retrieval if possible. It's the best I can do, Finnick. And this is about Annie. He's desperate. Okay, I'm just gonna highlight this part as well. Okay, Finnick, my mind struggles to make sense of the conversation. Of the fact that it's taking place between Plutarch Heavensby and Finnick. Is he so near and dear to the capital that he will be excused for his crimes, or did he really have no idea what Beatty intended? He croaks out something else, something heavy with despair. I can't believe she's still not getting it. Oh my God. I like that there's conversation going on in the comments that's completely unrelated. It's very fun. I'm reading bits and pieces of it. I feel a little like I'm teaching students in a class, and there's like people at the back whispering about an unrelated topic. Annie's last name being Cresta, crest like the highest point of a wave, the wave of the rebellion, because she's eventually the rebels in 13. Yeah. That's probably, yeah. That's definitely a way to analyze Annie's. It's really smart. Thank you for sharing. I can't believe Katniss is still so clueless. It's right there in front of you. Okay. She's literally been told the information at this point, and she's still ignoring it. Okay, and the information is right there in front of her. Her, and she's ignoring it. It's so difficult to annotate with the last couple pages. Okay, the information is right there in front of her, and she's ignoring it. Katniss. Can't believe Suzanne Collins came up with this whole franchise just by flicking between reality TV and real world footage. Yeah, I know. The inspiration for the Hunger Games is crazy. Don't be stupid. That's the worst thing you could do. Get her killed for sure. It sounded like I was calling my subscribers stupid. I wasn't. Reading out the novel. Don't be stupid. That's the worst thing you can do. Get her killed for sure. As long as you're alive, they'll keep her alive for bait, says Haymitch. Well, he understands. Okay, there we go. Says Haymitch. I bang through the door and stumble into the room. Haymitch, Plutarch, and a very beat-up Finnick is sit around a table laid with a meal no one is eating. Daylight streams in the curved windows, and in the distance I see the top of a forest of trees. We are flying. Candace ignores information because she's in the denial stage of grief while also at the peak of trust issues, which only increases with time. Yeah, you're so right there. Done knocking yourself out, sweetheart, says Haymitch, the annoyance clear in his voice. But as I careen forward, he steps up and catches my wrist, steadying me. He looks at my hand. So it's you and a shringe against the capital. So, see, this is why no one lets you make the plans. I stare at him uncomprehendingly. Drop it. I feel the pressure increase on my wrist until my hand is forced open and I release the shringe. He settles me in a chair next to Finnick. This is before she goes crazy. Does she go crazy like she does in the... Yeah, she does. We'll read it in a second. I was just trying to remember what exactly happened when she attacks Haymitch. Haymitch definitely acting like a dad there. I think the reason they didn't rescue Annabari and Mockingjay was because nobody trusted her to fight against the rebellion from inside District 13. Yeah, I can definitely see that being the case. But although at that point, District 2 was on the side of the rebellion, but they kind of had to force that, didn't they? They had to force their hand. So maybe Annabaria would not actually be on their side, and she'd be too much of a liability. Yeah, I see that happening. Just highlighting Haymitch being a father figure to Katniss. Plutarch puts a bowl of broth in front of me, a roll, slips a spoon into my hand. Eat, he says, in a much kinder voice than Haymitch used. Haymitch sits directly in front of me. Katniss, I'm going to explain what happened. I don't want you to ask any questions till I'm through. Do you understand? I nod numbly, and this is what he tells me. There's a plan to break us out of the arena from the moment the quell was announced. From the moment the quell was announced. How did they get in contact with all the... Okay. The victor tributes from 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8, and 11 had varying degrees of knowledge about it. Well, I guess they couldn't communicate that well into the districts. So, comment as well. Finnick's control, image, capital values. Finnick starts as a capital product of that, but becomes the anti-Finnicky. He's imperfect, grieving, and brave. Colin likes her wordplay with her character names and themes and their counter themes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's called... It's a word for it. I don't remember. Hang on. Oh my god, I don't remember the word for it. What is it? God, I don't remember the word I'm thinking of. I saw someone use it on a TikTok video. That they described the way in which... Oh, I don't remember it. It's so annoying. Also, every victor we know the last name of Cass, Peter, Haymitch, Beatty, Mags, Finnick, Annie, and Joanna are still part of the rebellion, but the ones we don't know their last name, yeah. With the exception of Wyrus, are not, yeah. Although, do we learn Wyrus's last name in Sunrise and the Reaping? Maybe. Maybe we don't. But yeah, you have a point there. Okay, moving on. Plutarch Heavensby has been, for several years, part of an undercover group aiming to overthrow the capital. Beatty's surname is movie canon only. Oh no, maybe. I was gonna say, like, maybe they say Ampert's last name in Sunrise on the Reaping, but maybe they don't. He made sure the wire was among the weapons. We might... Hang on. I just want to highlight all of this because this is like what the rebellion is at this stage at the end of Catching Fire. So I just I'll read out the rest of the paragraph to you guys as soon as I highlight the rest of this. We're almost done with the entire book. Very excited for that. And then we'll go on to Mockingjay and then the prequels. This is like information about the rebellion, what exactly is happening. This is the first time we hear about a full-scale rebellion. So it's important to note like what the context Katniss has is and what exactly is happening. He made sure the wire was among the weapons. Beatty was in charge of blowing a hole in the force field. The bread we received in the arena was code for the time of the rescue. The district where the bread originated indicated the day 3. The number of... Wow, they only got to day 3. That's crazy. The number of rolls, the hour, 24. The hovercraft belongs to District 13. Bonnie and Twill, the women I met in the woods from 8, were right about its existence and its defense capabilities. We are currently on a very roundabout journey to District 13. Meanwhile, most of the districts in Panam are in full-scale rebellion. You know, one thing I just noticed, the Victor tributes from 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8 and 11, knowing having various degrees of knowledge, is very interesting. So, I guess they're just the Victor tributes. That means Hamish. I was gonna say, like, did Hamish not know fully about the rebellion until now because of the last time everything didn't work out for him? But no, it's just the Victor tributes. The people who were in the arena were told about it. Who's missing here? 1, 2, 9, and 10. And then, of course, 12. Wow, okay. Hamish stops to see if I am following, or maybe he's done for the moment. It's an awful lot to take in. This elaborate plan in which I was a piece, just as I was meant to be a piece in the Hunger Games, used without consent, without knowledge. At least in the Hunger Games, I knew I was being played with. This is important. Lots of people manipulate Katniss here. So I want to just highlight this. Katniss is just a piece in their games. What was I going to write? Katniss is just... Am I going to annotate Sunrise on the Reaping? Yeah, eventually I will be annotating Sunrise, but of course it'll be the last book that I annotate. I don't know when I'll be up to annotating Sunrise on the Reaping. But yes, eventually I will be doing that. I definitely will be going through the whole series. I gotta buy a new... I have all of the first 5 books, like one of those books to annotate, but I need to buy a second copy of Sunrise on the Reaping to annotate once we get up to that as well. I currently only have 1 copy of Sunrise on the Reaping, but I have many copies of the other ones. All right, Katniss is being manipulated by all sides, and she catches on to that fact very early on, even though she kind of ignores it when it comes to the coin up until the end of Mockingjay. Kind of, a little bit. She is very aware of it when she becomes the Mockingjay. There's kind of half in denial, half knowing what's going on. My supposed friends have been a lot more secretive. You didn't tell me my voice is as ragged as Phoenix. Neither you nor Peter were told. We couldn't risk it, says Plutarch. I was even worried you might mention my indiscretion with the watch during the games. Cass feels betrayed by Phoenix. Says a lot about their relationship here as well. Okay. He pulls out his pocket watch and runs his thumb across the crystal, lighting up the Mockingjay. Of course, when I showed you this, I was merely tipping you off about the arena. As a mentor, I thought it might be a first step towards gaining your trust. I never dreamed you'd be a tribute again. I went looking for this quote for a video, and I couldn't find it. I only found something similar. No, actually, I didn't know. I didn't find a similar quote. I only really found the quote about the Mockingjay symbol on the pocket watch. Oh, no, just the watch. Is it not a pocket watch? I think it's just a pocket watch in the movies. Maybe it's just a watch. But I went looking for this quote, and I couldn't find it. I could only see the original quote about the watch earlier in the book. I've been looking for this quote for a video. So I've highlighted this one for emphasis. Plutarch didn't know all about Snow's moves immediately either. That's just what it's indicating to us. I still don't understand why Peter and I weren't let in on the plan, I say. Because once the force field blew, you'd be the first ones they'd try to capture, and the less you knew, the better, says Hamish. The first ones? Why? Trying to hang on to the train of thought. For the same reason the rest of us agreed to die to keep you alive, says Finnick. No, Joanna tried to kill me, I say. Joanna knocked you out to cut the tracker from your arm and lead Brutus and Anabaria from you, says Hamish. I just want to highlight this for emphasis about everyone agreeing to die for Katniss and Peter. What? My head aches so, and I want them to stop talking in circles. I don't know what you're... We had to save you because you're the Mockingjay, Katniss, says Plutarch. While you live, the revolution lives. The bird, the pen, the song, the berries, the watch, the cracker, the dress that burned into flames. I am the Mockingjay, the one that survived despite the Capitol's plans, the symbol of the rebellion. I want to highlight that for emphasis as well here. It's the first time she becomes the Mockingjay. Uh, 40 minutes until I take the bread out, then I'm off to bed, nearly 1 a.m. here. Wow, that's late. I was up until like 2 a.m. editing the video that just came out earlier. That's why I was late to the stream, because I slept in on accident. This is the first time Katniss embodies no, not embodies. Is forced into the Mockingjay role. This is the first time Katniss is forced into the Mockingjay role. There. Okay. It's what I suspected in the woods when I found Bonnie and Twill escaping, though I never really understood the magnitude. But then I wasn't meant to understand. I think of Hamish's sneering at my plans to fling District 12. Start my own uprising, even the very notion that District 13 should exist. Subterfuges and deceptions. That seems like a really big word for Katniss, just personally. And if he could do that behind his mask of sarcasm and drunkenness so convincingly and for so long, what else has he lied about? I know what else. Peter, I whisper, my heart sinking. The others kept Peter alive because if he died, we knew there'd be no keeping you in an alliance. Oh, they know the magnitude of Peter's importance. And we couldn't risk leaving you unprotected. His words are a matter of fact, his expression unchanged, but he can't hide the tinge of grey that colours his face. Where is Peter? I hiss at him. And look, the next bit is so funny, I will say. I just want to highlight this for emphasis first, and then we're going to highlight a bit about how Katniss smacks Haymitch in the face. Okay, I'm just writing. They knew of Peter's importance to Katniss there. He was picked up at the Capitol. Okay, where is Peter? I hiss at him. He was picked up by the Capitol along with Joanna and Anabaria, says Haymitch, and finally he has the decency to drop his gaze. Technically, I am unarmed. But no one should ever underestimate the harm that fingernails can do, especially if the target is unprepared. I lunge across the table and rake mine down Haymitch's face, causing blood to flow and damage to one eye. That's crazy. Then we are both screaming terrible, terrible things at each other. And Finnick is trying to drag me out, and I know it's all Hamish can do to not rip me apart. But I'm the Mockingjay. I'm the Mockingjay, and it's too hard keeping me alive as it is. The way that she's so superior. The way she's so superior is hilarious. I'm going to highlight this whole paragraph here. Surely Hamish was prepared for this. They have quite a close relationship. I'm just going to write down what a lovely relationship they have. Other hands help Finnick, and I'm back on my table, my body restrained, my wrists tied down. So I slam my head in fury again and again against the table. A needle pokes my arm and my head hurts so badly I stop fighting and simply wail in a horrible dying animal way until my voice gives out. Grief for Peter. It's extreme, so I'm gonna highlight it for emphasis, or color it in for emphasis, because we all know I'm using a pencil. The drug causes sedation, not sleep, so I'm trapped in fuzzy, dully aching misery for what seems like always. They reinsert their tubes and talk to me in soothing voices that never reach me. All I can think of is Peter lying on a similar table somewhere while they try to break him for information he doesn't even have. Poor Peter. I'm just going to write that annotation. Katniss, I'm sorry. Finnick's voice comes from the bed next to me and slips into my consciousness, perhaps because we're in the same kind of pain. I wanted to go back for him and Joanna, but I couldn't move. I don't answer. Finnick O'Dare's good intentions mean less than nothing. Oh. It's better for him than Joanna. They'll figure out he doesn't know anything pretty fast, and they won't kill him if they think they can use him against you, says Finnick, like bait. Say to the ceiling, like how they'll use Annie for bait, Finnick. I can hear him weeping, but I don't care. Oh, that's so mean, Katniss. So mean. Just kind of highlight this. Yeah. It's weird because Finnick's 24 in this book at this point. And like, I've recently turned 23, and I'm like, wow, I'm so close to Finnick's age. I can put myself in the shoes of Finnick now, which is crazy. They probably won't even bother to question her. She's so far gone right off the deep end years ago in her games. There's a good chance I'm headed in the same direction. Maybe I'm already going crazy and no one has the heart to tell me I feel crazy enough. It's a lot of PTSD there. PTSD and grief. wish she was dead, he says. I wish they were all dead and we were too. It would be best. Well, there's no good response to that. I can hardly dispute it since I was walking around with a syringe to kill Peter when I found them. Oh no. Okay, I'm just gonna highlight this and then I'm gonna read out the rest of it for you guys. There's a lot I wanna like highlight. She does get him back, just hijacked. Poor Peter, to be honest. Do I really want him dead? What I want is to have him back, but I'll never get him back now. Even if the rebel forces could somehow overthrow the capital, you can be sure President Snow's last act would be to cut Peter's throat. No, I will never get him back. So then dead is best. But will Peter know that, or will he keep fighting? He's so strong and such a good liar. Does he think he has a chance of surviving? Does he even care if he does? He wasn't planning on it anyway. He had already signed off on life. Maybe if he knows I was rescued, he's even happy. Feels he's fulfilled his mission to keep me alive. I do wonder what is going through Peter's head right now. I think I hate him even more than I do Haymitch. Because he's fulfilled his mission to keep me alive. Gonna highlight that as well. Poor Peter. He was dealt so many short straws in life. He deserves better. Oh, people are talking about their ages. I'm only 23. Dang, I feel old now. 36 sucks. My back, knees, and hips are shot, and I groan when I stand up. Oh no. I have joint pains even only at 23. So, can't imagine what it's going to be like as I get older. Oh no. That's an age gap between Candace 17 and Finnick 24, yeah. Oh my god. My bread is done and perfect in the comments. That's great. Love some perfect bread. You may as well be a part of the Moloch family. I give up. Stop speaking, responding, refuse food and water. They can pump whatever they want into my arm, but it takes more than that to keep a person going once she's lost the will to live. I want to highlight that just for emphasis here. See, I'm really liking this ending to Catching Fire. So I keep highlighting everything and slowing down the process of everything. I even have a funny notion that if I do die, maybe Peter will be allowed to live. Not as a free person, but as an AVOX or something, waiting on the future tributes of District 12. She's not convinced that the Hunger Games has ended yet. Then maybe he could find some way to escape. My death could, in fact, still save him. what I've written here is Candace is not convinced the Hunger Games has ended and won't for a long time. And when I say won't for a long time, I'm essentially referring to the fact that Candace isn't convinced that it's safe to have children for like 15, 20 years, which she mentions to us in the epilogue of Mockingjay. If it can't, no matter, it's enough to die of spite. Only issue I had with the bread was my oven shelf was too high and the bread almost got stuck in there. Oh no. Hate when that happens with baked goods. Candace's body and mind are in Hunger Games mode until the end of Mockingjay, yeah, which is why she's always so jumpy from the point forward, and her ace and autistic traits on full display. Yeah, definitely. If it can't, no matter, it's enough to die of spite, to punish Hamish, who, of all the people in this running world, has turned Peter and me into pieces in his games. I trusted him. I put what was precious in Hamish's hands, and he has betrayed me. See, this is why no one lets you make the plans, he said. Just gonna highlight some of this. This is for this annotation here. I think this is a really powerful quote here about the trio that is from the trio of the District 12 victors. Really powerful quote, yeah. Okay, that's true. No one in their right mind would let me make the plans because I obviously can't tell a fiend from an enemy. A lot of people come by to talk to me, but I make all the words sound like the clicking of insects in the jungle. Meaningless and distant, dangerous, but only if approached. Whenever the words start to become distinct, I moan until they give me more painkiller, and that fixes things right up. Well, she's becoming an addict. I've watched multiple of your annotation videos. It inspired me to create 1,000 medium master difficult Hunger Games with 4 books, multiple choice quiz. Been working on since last October. Oh my god, that's crazy. So far on 950 questions, but 1,000 is the plan to start releasing them. Wow. We're so close to the end. We have like 2 pages left. Okay. Until one time I open my eyes and find someone I cannot block out looking down at me. Someone who will not plead or explain or think he can alter my design with entreaties because he alone really knows how I operate. Gale, I whisper. This is a good example of how close they are. Hey, Catnip. He reaches down and pushes a strand of hair out of my eyes. One side of his face has been burned fairly recently. Wow. His arm is in a sling and I can see bandages under his miner's shirt. What has happened to him? How is he even here? Something very bad has happened back home. I'm just going to highlight this because this is his physical description after the bombings in District 12. It is not so much a question of forgetting Peter as remembering the others. All it takes is one look at Gale and they come surging into the present, demanding to be acknowledged. She didn't even think of Prim until this point. Prim, I gasp. She's alive. So is your mother. I got them out in time, he says. Wow. Prim survived one bombing just to be killed in another one. Never realized that one before. I just wrote, I can't believe she forgot about Prim up until now, and I'm just going to write what I just said about Prim. Oh, writing a little janky one. She survives another bombing in District 13 as well. Prim survived one bombing just to die in another. Just ignore how badly and wonky I wrote that. Oops. She's alive. So is your mother. I got them out in time, he says. They're not in District 12, I ask. Oh no. After the games, they sent in planes, dropped firebombs. He hesitates. Well, you know what happened to the Hob. I do know. I saw it go up. That old warehouse embedded with coal dust. The whole district's covered with this stuff. New kind of horror begins to rise up inside me as I imagine firebombs hitting the seam. They're not in District 12, I repeat, as if saying it will somehow fend off the truth. Okay, so this is about how they bombed District 12, so I'm highlighting that so we know we can be drawn to it when I come back and reread it. And this is about how it would have gone up in flames, so I'm just gonna... We're so close to the end. Okay. They're not in District 12, I repeat, as if saying it will somehow fend off the truth. Katniss, Gale says softly. I recognize that voice. It's the same one he uses to approach wounded animals before he delivers a death blow. I instinctively raise my hand to block his words, but he catches it and holds it tightly. Don't, I whisper. But Gale is not one to keep secrets from me. Katniss, there is no District 12. I can't imagine what it would have been like when reading this for the first time before Mockingjay came out. Damn. I wish I was around during that time. Well, I was, but I wasn't old enough to read The Hunger Games at that point. What an ending. Okay, what an ending, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what it was like to read the cliffhanger before Mockingjay was released. What are we talking about in the comments? That is it for Catching Fire. Next weekend on Sunday, we'll be going through Mockingjay as well. I'll probably do 2 chapters at a time for each stream, and you'll see it scheduled before I start. It'll be around about-ish the same time. What are we talking about? Gale is like the gale force wind idea of storms. The storm of the rebellion is brewing. And I just noticed I still have like a little bit of a gap here where my desk ends. Oh well. The storm of the rebellion is brewing. From this point, he was fast in getting the 800 survivors out because of the fiery wind of the rebellion. Yes, it's really good comparisons with the names. Gale knew that Katniss needed to know. He also knew her well enough to know that he should say it, so she didn't hear it from anyone else. Yeah, didn't Haymitch? I wonder if he knew that District 12 was bombed at this point, or if the communications were down, so maybe they didn't know. So Haymitch couldn't have told Katniss, but you know, after what happened about the reveal with Peter being captured by the Capitol, I don't think Haymitch wanted to tell Katniss any more information and with more injuries. It would be cool to get feedback. Hang on. It would be cool to get feedback on them organizing them, which should stay multiple choice and which shouldn't. Oh, do you want like feedback on your? You could probably look. I'm gonna set up a Discord for my channel. So you probably get feedback from multiple people as well on the Discord. So we can we'll like do the little quiz as well on the Discord. I'll set up a Discord and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it in my community tab when I do. I just gotta remember how to set up a Discord server. I had one at some point, but it died out because I stopped focusing on it. So we'll do that. We'll do a Discord server. You can put your little what was it? Was it like a quiz, a multiple choice quiz? And we'll do that, and then you can like interact with other people in the community that way as well. So look out on my community tab about that and about everything that's happening. And what? Yeah, I'll make the Discord, and everyone can share and have a little bit of community over there. Okay, I'll make one today. Can I? Yeah, I have time to make one today. My family has just woken up. It's very early in the morning. Well, it's 10 a.m. now. I try to live stream much earlier, but my family is waking up and making a lot of noise, so I do have to end the stream. But look out on my community tab. I'll probably mention it as well on like in some videos that are coming up. If you guys want, like maybe I'll like pin a comment on some of my on some and they're speaking quite loudly now, but on some of my videos I'll like pin a comment about the Discord server when I have the link for you guys, but I'll set it up and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's not that difficult to set up a Discord server. Just look out on my community tab and I'll set one up today in a couple of hours. But yeah, that is it for today's stream. Next weekend, around about the same time, I will be doing Mockingjay, and I'll do 2 chapters at a time. So we should be able to get through 4 chapters over next weekend, which is pretty cool. So that is the end of Catching Fire. The cliffhanger we have is District 12 has been bombed. It's been destroyed and there's nothing else. So yeah, thank you guys so much. So yes. Oh yeah, you're mentioning how there was a Discord server for the live, and yeah. And how it died out. Yes, we'll create a Discord server and you guys can chat about the movie when it comes out as well. So yes. Yep, see you guys next weekend. Thank you so much for everyone who's been watching. There's been a few people chatting, of course, which has been very fun. I've been loving these streams. Now that I have more subscribers, there are more people joining in, which is pretty fun. But yeah, we'll try not to we'll make sure that this Discord server doesn't die. So there's more, we can keep the hype up in the Hunger Games fandom. But yeah, thank you guys once again so much for watching this live stream. See you guys next weekend, and I'll see you guys in videos through the week as well. So yeah, see you guys then. Thanks. Bye.